Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. Tonight we have Eric is going to give us a little presentation on mute your mics if you haven't muted. Also, getting a little bit of feedback here. Eric's going to present on the 4 days in May North and all the fun we had on that one. I'm going to do a quick follow-up on bandwidth measurements that Dave gave me a big clue on, and then we have a bit of a roundtable and any other questions that anybody might have. Just as a reminder, there will be no meeting on July 16th or August 20th, where we started last year, I guess it was, to canceling those 2 days for the summer. Okay, with that, I'll share my screen. I'm assuming we can see that.
Yep, it's good, Peter.
Okay. All right. So if you recall, we at the bottom right in red was the formulas or the directives that I came up for calculating bandwidth, which we knew by the time I started to present, I realized it wasn't correct. And in fact, it wasn't. And then Dave came up with what's on the upper left side there saying, try that one out. So after the fact, I did, and it was actually in the LTspice help files. I'm not sure how I missed it, but missed it I did. Anyway, we'll go through them in a little bit. So what I did was, and there's the spice log report on the upper right that the new directives spat out. And you can see the from the graph there the signal that I used to run this directive through, and it came up with a bandwidth of 596 hertz, and it also spits out the two frequencies that it got the bandwidth measurement from. So I did put the cursors on as close as I could to that 3D dB points. And you can see on the bottom here, it came up at 601 hertz. So in this particular case, I guess you could say using cursors and the actual measurement isn't that far off. What's 6 hertz between friends? But that's just in this case here. I still encourage you to take the time and effort to learn how to run the dot measure statements. Did somebody have a question?
Yeah. What was this? Was this a narrowband filter or a broadband filter?
Neither. It was just actually, you know what? I don't remember what I ran this on. Probably. Oh, I know what it was from the frequency. It was probably the let's build something crystal filter.
So it looks to me like the middle peak is this ripple, and you really should be measuring from that tall plateau.
Well, this is just how this formula calculated, right? I see what you're saying, Hassan, but my next slide shows a little bit different, a little bit cleaner. I guess, that's a pretty lousy looking filter no matter where you look at it, right?
Yeah, but the ripple in the middle is confusing spice, because that should be just...
Well, true enough. Now, if you took a look at, see the peak down there, you're at 4.9. And then if you go up to the other one, you got another 4.91 to 22. So that's a pretty wide filter. I don't know how you would eliminate it. So it's one of the things you got to be careful with, right?
Yeah, it's a design issue. You got to change the values so that the ripple is reduced, and then you calculate the bandwidth. Otherwise, it's a spurious measurement.
True enough, except in this case, I just chose that particular schematic because that's what I had handy, and I ran it through it just to illustrate the calculation, how the calculation is done in bandwidth. In reality, what are you going to do? Yeah, you're going to take that filter and you're going to change the capacitors or whatever to smooth out that ripple.
Yeah, because it should have been 4 kilohertz, roughly 4 or 5 kilohertz.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't think this is the actual circuit that went into the LBS, but this was just one of the early simulations that I had for it, and I just ran with that one. But you'll be happy.
Do you remember this acronym, garbage in, garbage out?
Yeah, well, you'll be happy with the next slide, okay?
Okay.
All right. There, is that better? So, I ran it with just a simple sine wave just to see how the formula would work with this one. And as you can see, it does calculate it a lot cleaner. It reads the peak, at around if you look over here at the spice output log, it's spitting out minus 17 and change as the peak. So it's got that one okay. If you look over here on the left, the readings there, and calculates the 3 dB point as 3.319 megahertz. Now over here, trying to place the cursors on those points came up with 3.314. So you can start to see now that the error in using your cursors starts to increase. But anyway, to Hassan's point, it may not actually spit out what you want it to based on the circuit that's analyzing. So you need to be careful there. So there again is the new formula, our directives. And I'll just go over quickly what they mean. So your first line there is basically making the measurement of the maximum magnitude on V out, and you're putting it in the variable called temp. And the what was I going to say now? Mag V out takes the magnitude of the complex, out of the output. So that's a pretty simple line there. The next line, dot measure, is the bait bandwidth, and this is where the measurement starts to calculate the bandwidth. And really what you're doing here is you're setting up a trigger point on the V out, and that sets the trigger condition, and it looks for the first point where the magnitude of V out rises through that value of the minus 3 dB point from the peak. And rise 1 means we're looking at for the first rising edge that crosses that threshold. So the next part of that statement is there's a plus sign, and when you use the plus sign, it's telling LTspice that it's the continuation of the previous dot measure line. And in this particular part here now, we're setting up defining a target condition, and this is where Spice is looking for V out falling through that same threshold of temp divided by the square root of 2, which is the minus 3 dB point. And now we're telling it to look use the last falling edge that crosses that threshold. And then we've gotten both the both points of the bandwidth, the 3 dB points, and that's a simple math of just subtraction, and that you'll end up with the bandwidth. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, it was just a quick update of what I went through the last time, and I guess really, you can see where it works perfect on a nice clean signal, but on a real choppy signal, to Hassan's point, you're not getting the an accurate depiction, I suppose. What you would do to correct that, I'm not sure. I've never really given it much thought. So anyway, that's all I got for this one. Okay. Oh, Dave, you got a question?
Yeah, can I share my screen? You're asking how to fix that. Let me show you.
Yep.
I'm going to share my screen for a second.
Yeah.
So way back when I was futzing around with crystal filters, I designed this Java program called Filter Analyzer.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And if you run this, just takes a minute to start up. And Peter, I think I've got that crystal filter. So anyway, this the program runs, and it allows you to optimize and do all kinds of stuff with it. But if I open, because I've got it where you could save the parameters. So what happens is that you enter your crystal motional parameters, and it's based on a Cohen filter. And a Cohen filter is designed this way, right? So if you open, see, Peter, I got one here for dueling 612. June 3rd. I don't know what that is, but I'll open it.
Or
Okay.
not.
So now,
Or not.
can you guys see the screen? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I plot this now, so that's a filter. I'm going to plot the Bode plot basically, right? So if I sweep that filter now, you could see now the orange is a fit, and you can see you got substantial ripple. You've got a huge amount of ripple here in the passband, which is what you're seeing from that plot. It doesn't look exactly like this, but it's something like this where you're seeing a lot of ripple. That's what Hassan was saying.
Mhm.
Now it's not terminated. See, if I terminate it to 450 ohms and it's properly terminated, and I sweep it, look how nice that filter looks. And the insertion loss is about 7 dB, which is big, which is pretty big insertion loss, but still see how it smooths out?
Yeah.
When you terminate the filter properly, it gets rid of that ripple. So anyway, I just want to show you that there's this program. If anyone wants to frig around with crystal filters, you're welcome to use this program.
Yeah, I forgot about that program you did, Dave. We used that during the 612 project. You're right. I'll have to go back and see if I can find that simulation I did to pull off on there earlier and just see if I had the ends terminated properly. I can't remember now.
Yeah, it's not important. It's not important, Peter. It's just you're saying that that was a crystal filter, and that was way back. And I remember that's specifically why I did this program, was so that I can terminate things. I could change capacitor values on the fly, and I just hit a button and I see what it is, as opposed to going into LTspice, because LTspice is a real pain in the butt to go and use. Anyway, it just FYI.
Good. Okay. Thanks, Dave, for that. Any other questions? Okay, Eric, are you available?
Sorry, trying to find my mute button. Yeah, I am available. But available for what?
Well, what do you think? You're the
Roundtable.
You're the star presenter tonight.
It's time for a roundtable, I think. Remember?
You're not ready yet?
Well, I'm just adding a few more choice photos in. So if you want to have the pinnacle.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's go through a roundtable and we'll let Mr. Pragmatic person here away with it. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, if you don't mind, can I just show something to Kevin for a second?
Sure.
Hey, Kevin, remember last week? I think it was last week. We were talking about that FreeCAD drawing that you were getting errors from.
Yes.
Okay, so let me just share my screen. I'll show you something here. So you should be able to see my screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the backplane file. It's from here. SOAREX backplane support v2 blah blah blah. Right. I just pulled that down just now. Okay, and here it is here. So I'm just going to open up FreeCAD. It'll just take a second.
Yeah, I just opened it up on mine too. So
So there, I just opened it up, no errors.
right.
And
mine opens up, yeah. And mine opens up with no errors too. But when mine opens it up, it says you should do a recomputation. Do you want to do one now? And if you say yes, then it comes up with some errors.
Okay.
But if you don't do the recomputation, it's fine.
Here's my FreeCAD version. I'm running 019, provision number, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. You might be running a different version to me.
Yeah, I'm version 1.01, which is supposedly one of the best, most stable versions, but
Okay, so I'm running 0.19, 24291, blah, 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 and it works. And if I go in here, and this is what normally breaks, if you go and you try and look at the pads or the pockets, this is when it breaks. You'll get a broken face or some error here. I don't know where there's that recomputation. I've never seen that.
well, I mean, just yeah, I mean, and I think Charlie was getting it too, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, and it's probably just a version. I'm running this version that I've got here, and it works fine. Like I could generate the STL files. Oops.
So
I
yeah,
export to-
so the error comes with the upper body right. Failed to recompute some documents. The report, blah blah blah. The upper body right side has got the issue in this upper body right side PCB slot sketch and slot sketch 0001 or whatever.
There is no upper body here. There's lower body A, lower body B, top body A, top body B.
It's under top body A, and it's one of the if you explode that out, there's an upper body right side PCB slot sketch. Yes. Oh, slot sketch. Yes. So that's where it breaks. That's where and it's saying constraint number 9, 19, 29, 39, and 49 is malformed.
Which constraints?
9, 19, 29, 39, and 49.
It's showing on mine, constraint 9 is fine. Again, I'm not seeing anything, no errors here, because I'd see them here. I'd see the errors here in the report view. So I think it's a version issue. Since I'm running an older version.
Yeah, it could be. Well, and that's what it says is like to or to maximize compatibility or whatever. It says do a recompute, and this is what it does. Then it breaks.
Right. So it's got something to do with that newer version. They've added some other constraint check-in, which is breaking it, which I don't have that in my version.
Okay. Well.
So yeah. So as I said, I'm not getting any errors, and it just got to do with my version. And this is the thing about this is why I don't like upgrading software. Man, I'm an old software guy. I've been doing this a long time, and if it ain't broke, don't upgrade. That's my rule.
The world is passing you by, Dave.
I started Windows 3.1, DOS 4, DOS 3. You know, I've been through all these different versions and going through it, and it's in the ass.
I mean, from what I was reading, is just the version 1.0 had a ton of fixes to get some of the modules to work together in FreeCAD. So that's why I went to that one, because it supposedly has a better user interface than any of the older versions. But I don't know. I haven't really played much around with it other than to open this model and look at things. That's it. Anyway. Okay. Thanks, Dave.
All right. Have you finished putting pictures together, Eric, or you still want to go last?
Yeah, do the roundtable. Let's get that done. And yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. First on my screen then is Dave. Dave, you had an interesting question today on groups. What else have you been up to?
What question did I put on groups?
Well, the transmitter.
Oh yeah, no, that's I've been doing rocket stuff, no radio related stuff. So I haven't touched any electronics at all, other than rocketry electronics. So you should talk to someone else. I got nothing interesting to say.
Well, you might have if you designed your transmitter, but anyway. Hey, Drew, how's it going?
Well, it's going good. Yeah, sorry, caught me off guard there. Yeah, so what have I been doing in the radio? Completely and utterly failing in the last 2 contests. I mean, I could throw a signal farther. I gotta tell you, I don't know if my antennas are even connected anymore. I'm beginning to wonder. Anyways, other than that, I was inspired by you and Dave and those who have purchased those little CNC 3018s back a couple of 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went looking on Kijiji, looking for people who have bought one and failed, because I find that that's a great way to pick up stuff because people don't necessarily carry through. And I found myself a 3040, which is a bigger version,
Okay.
but really old. So for 2 years, I've been trying to get this thing to work and not a clue as to how it actually works. And so on the weekend there, Stefan gave me a computer, and it's a Windows 98 computer from the Cancer Center. And I put a printer port in it. And after about 2 days of playing around with various settings, I got it to work.
Oh,
so
good.
now this thing has an X, a Y, and a Z, and it's terrifying. This thing has huge motors, and it's going in a box before I do anything with it. But the neat thing is now I got a complete learning curve, because where you guys are making PCBs and using FreeCAD and stuff, I'm just starting out.
Well, I'm sure you'll have a ton of questions as you go forward with it. It's a fairly hefty learning. There's actually a couple of learning curves. One is to learn how to, well, one is exporting. Once you got your Gerbers, then you import it into another program. And we've been using FlatCam, and that's to take your Gerbers and change that into the code. And then you import that into we import that into a program called Candle, which is what is used to run the CNC. And then once you get that all figured out, then you got to figure out what are good settings to do for the PCB. So there's a lot of work there. Dave's got a question.
He's unheard.
Yeah, not a question. No, I was just going to comment to say we were just talking about FreeCAD. In FreeCAD, if you design something in FreeCAD, there is something called the path workbench.
Yep.
And I've been playing around with that, and I've gotten pretty good at it, where you could directly drive your CNC machine from that. So you could generate Gerber files, take that, use, as Peter said, use Candle, and send that to your CNC machine, and you could mill stuff out. So instead of milling a PCB, you could take a piece of wood and mill it out, or I use wood, and I've been milling stuff for my rockets. And
that's pretty cool.
It's working really, really well. I'm really impressed with it. It's got a little bit of a learning curve, but I'm telling you, FreeCAD, it's a very, very powerful tool if you're getting into making your own parts.
Well, it turns out that mine doesn't use Goebbels. Mine uses Mach 3. And so I can use FreeCAD, but when I feed FreeCAD into, I have to feed it to this Mach 3 software running in Windows 98 that'll actually drive the machine. Yours is a much more updated controller than mine is. That's what I've been able to figure out. Is it the Goebbels and that sort of thing is you have a USB plug into your computer to drive it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mine's a printer port. It's a 25-pin printer port, and it has to be a real printer port. It can't be a fake one. So that was what was holding me up for a while. Was what I have is a much older generation of what you have. It's a little bigger, but it's basically the same process, but I'm going to have to go through a couple other steps to get it to function. Anyways, that's what I've been playing with. Took me about a week to get, a few days to get this thing running, and that occupied all my moments because I was actually getting somewhere after 2 years.
But if your CAD program for doing PCBs is exporting in Gerbers,
well, it won't be able to. It'll have to.
It's actually G code. It's actually G code, not Gerbers. It's G code.
This thing if it prints out in G code, that's perfect because that's exactly what this thing eats. It has to eat G code.
It's G code. So what happened? Candle. Do you have to use a program? What's it called?
FlatCam.
FlatCam, and FlatCam takes the Gerbers and it creates G code, and then Candle takes that G code and sends it to the CNC. Same thing with FreeCAD. FreeCAD uses the Path Workbench, but it directly generates the Gerber files, and you take those Gerber files, and we use Candle. Candle is just a program to send the Gerber files to the CNC machine, and also,
in my version, it's Mach 3 instead of Candle, basically.
Right, and that just allows you to level the heads and skew to like 0. Put the head where it thinks 0 is.
Yep.
And you zero it out to say that's 0, and then all my Gerbers are from that offset.
Yep. Oh yeah, there's a steepish learning curve on this one, no question about it.
Well,
the more I got into it, the more I realized what you two had accomplished with the PCBs was pretty impressive.
Well, it was worth it.
Yeah.
Well,
I dare say a fair number of broken bits.
Well, yeah, I've done that a couple times because I've forgotten to put the clip on it when and I've rammed the bit right down into the PCB board and stuff like that, and I've ripped the cable off because I forgot to remove the ground cable off of the bit and stuff like that. Anyway, lessons learned.
Yep. Well, anyways, that's what I've been amusing myself with.
Well, I'm sure we'll be talking more about it all over the next 12 months.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This is it's a whole new hobby. There's so much to do with it. I mean, when I opened up the control panel on Mach 3, I realized this is no 3D printer.
No.
And with the size of the motor on this thing, it is going inside a cage because I do not want this thing flinging stuff around the basement.
Okay. All right. Frank, what do you got going on these days? You're still muted. There you go.
There we are. Well, this is something kind of recent, but on the other hand, something quite old. I was watching a recent episode of Solder Smoke, and what behind Bill and who's the other fellow? Anyway, the one that did the Let's Build Something design.
Oh, Pete,
yeah. Anyway, behind both of them, they had a video display on a piece of ham equipment. And the video display looked like an old-fashioned analog ham radio front end. The dial itself was a big circle with all the numbers on it and a line. And the line went through all the numbers. Then above it was the actual frequency. And it was all done in software. Now, I didn't have a chance at the time to investigate any of this, but it gave me an idea. I said, you know what? I think I'd like to build one of those or to program it. So I dug out some old stuff and started relearning Python. I was amazed at how much I'd forgotten, but I'm finally keeping the old brain going, and it seems to be helping. So anyway, I dug out a Raspberry Pi Pico that I started to, it's just a microcontroller. It's not a full Raspberry Pi, but it's a microcontroller. So I've been playing around with that, with relearning Python and thinking about how the hell I would design something like this. So it's going to take me a few months to get my head around it. But if I do, it'll become a front end for a homebrew rig.
Okay, that sounds interesting, Frank. There's one fellow here in Kingston in particular. He uses the AI program Claude, and he finds that it's like pretty darn accurate for creating Python code.
Oh,
So if you get stuck, you can either try the ChatGPT stuff, but Claude he swears by Claude. He's given it some seemingly complex tasks to do, and it's handled it perfectly. So maybe you might want to keep that in mind if you want to cheat a bit. I mean, leverage AI a little bit.
okay. Well, there's another learning curve because I haven't touched AI at all.
It's pretty neat.
My my brother out west, not the ham. He doesn't have a ham license, but he uses it all the time, and it's amazing what it can do, from what he told me.
Yeah, it is. It is quite something. Hassan's got a comment.
Yeah, Frank, I tried using AI to generate Python programs the other day,
Uh-huh.
and it was amazing how well it worked. Like within half an hour, it was interfacing to an SDR. It had a lot of bugs, so I had to fix those. But if you're doing, if essentially all you have to do is describe what you want it to do in English, it gives you the code and you run it, and then you cut and paste it into your program and run it. And if you don't like it, you just tell it what's wrong, or just cut and paste the error messages and it will figure it out. So they call this vibe coding. So all you need to do is explain in clear English what you want, and it generates the code for you.
I'll be done.
And I mean, I was skeptical, but it works really well. I mean, some things it needs a lot of help with. So if you have attention to detail, that's the key skill now. Something young people don't have today. There's another tool called Cursor. It's basically like normally what I just do is go to ChatGPT or whatever cloud in a web browser and type it in there and cut and paste the code into my editor. But Cursor will do it all for you in the same editor. So although I'm going to say it's not that easy to use, so Cursor's not the easiest. But yeah, it's a whole new world now. I mean, I think you can do a lot with AI generated code, but you got to have an eye for detail, spot the problems. The good news is you just tell the problems to the AI and it fixes it for you. So
Well, it looks like the learning curve has just got a lot steeper.
Or maybe a lot
simpler.
more simpler, depending
Yeah, a
on what
lot simpler.
Yeah, but you have to learn AI.
it's no big deal, Frank. You just type your question as Hassan described. That's it.
Yeah, like I told it, I have an RTL SDR. I want to receive samples and give me an ADSB decoder. And it did. And then I'm like, okay, I want the frequency to be a slider now so I can change it. And it did. And I mean, it blows my mind. So, but the thing is, it does, if you know what you want, you just keep asking for better and better quality stuff and it gives it to you. It doesn't just give it the first time. So there's still room for domain expertise here, you know?
Drew, you got a question or comment?
Not so much, but an observation. Frank, I used ChatGPT to create some software. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. And after about 4 runs at it, it created perfect code to put into Arduino. I put a link to Claude in the chat, and I would really suggest don't worry about the difficulties you might think are there, as Hassan described. If you want to try anything, give it something that you already know how to do and see how it does.
Yep.
And that gives you an impression of how it does take 2 or 3 runs at it to get it right. The biggest problem is deprecated libraries.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, and it will match things up. If you tell it I have this library, it will match its code to that library. So
that's a good point. That's a good point. Tell it what versions you're using. That's right.
It's really it's an incredibly powerful tool. Thankfully, we all use it for good instead of evil. That's all I've got.
Right.
Okay.
One more thing you can do,
Okay.
Frank, is use the voice interface. You can literally talk to your phone and it replies to you in plain English, and you can have a conversation, and that's really fun.
My gosh. I
Wow.
think this little project of mine has just exploded.
There you go. And it's all free, so it doesn't cost you anything, Frank.
Oh, I like that.
Okay. Well, I look forward to seeing some results, Frank. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks. Okay.
Oh, not really. Try the next couple of months.
Okay. All right. Hassan, you're up next.
Okay, on my bench, well, I just told you what I did.
Yeah.
I used
Okay.
So I did that. I tried using my Blade RF next, and what Drew said was exactly what happened. It gave me code for the Blade RF 1, not the Blade RF 2, or some earlier version of the library. So that took a lot of time to fix it. But generally, it worked well. But it is tedious, it's painful. And if you're willing to work through it and understand it, it's really good. But yeah, that was my thing. And apart from that, I think just cleaning up around the house, making a new desk. I showed you pictures.
Yeah.
So I gaming a lot more, but getting back into radio soon.
Okay, good. Looking forward to it. Okay. Thanks, Hassan. Ken, what's on your bench?
Absolutely nothing. No,
Okay.
I haven't. As usual, work takes over my life. But anyways, Thursday through Monday, um, the family, 12 people, we rented an Airbnb in on Mount Tremblant in Quebec. I wish I had taken a radio with me. What? It's so high up. I bet you I would have got a million contacts during field day. But being with the family, yeah, that's not in the cards. I think next time I'm going to sneak it, or just say, too bad, I'm bringing a radio. But I wish I had brought one. It would have been excellent. But other than that, nothing whatsoever.
Okay. Well, thanks, then, Ken. Good evening, Marty. Still looking for that mute button? It's the very far left one with a picture of the microphone. When you move your mouse around, a little toolbar at the bottom comes up.
Okay, got it now. I couldn't find the little screen, but I've got it now. All right. I think maybe the last time did I show this thing?
I know you showed us something. What is that? Is that a field probe?
It's a pressure sensitive Morse code key. It's not very big. It's a pressure sensitive element on here and here. and you construct it with a lot of little SMT parts. And there's a fella that's got these right now in Ottawa. His name is Wayne Getchell, and this is the thing he puts in with the key. Well, I don't know if that tells you all about the key anyway.
Okay.
I don't know if I can get that sent to. Anyway, I had trouble with the one key that I built. One side worked and the other side didn't. So coming back to Ottawa, I picked up another couple of kits from him, $16, and it gives you an iambic paddle or a straight key if you just do one side. So for those of you that want to learn Morse code, here's an opportunity to get a little paddle that is pretty well indestructible, and you can slip it in your pocket. Very light and portable. So just encouraging you to get into CW. And by the way, the contacts I made for Canada Day, most of them were CW, and the same with Field Day. So I made a few voice, but mainly CW. So.
Okay, very good, Marty. Thank you. Yeah. Somebody in the group says they wanted to start learning Morse code, but I can't remember who it was now. But anyway, good evening, Kevin. What's happening?
Hey, I'm here. I'm been playing with this FreeCAD thing. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, no, I did Field Day, which is more than most people did. Mind you, I don't have a lot of contacts to show for it. So anyway, that and I trying to spend some extra time on this backplane radio, but the weather keeps distracting me outside. So anyway, that's about it for me. Just hanging out and enjoying being retired.
Yeah, very good. Well, you're smiling a lot more. Okay.
Well, it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot easier when you don't have to get up for work in the morning.
No kidding.
Yeah, rub it in.
Okay.
It's a choice.
What's on your bench these days, Michael? Although I guess you've been away for a week.
Yes, I was away camping last week at Earl Row, actually. Ken, we've been there twice this year. We went once on June the 1st and once last week. And that was good. But I've also been, I have a field day. I have a quarter wave vertical for field day that I went to field day for years, and I built this quarter wave vertical, and it worked very well. Took it up to Earl Row. Couldn't get it to work at all. Not sure why. Came back, and that inspired some looking into other stuff. And I bought myself a Spider Beam 40-foot mast, the heavy-duty version of the mast. I've been getting that organized, and I've also been doing some looking at for NEC models of I want to build an inverted V dipole for 40 meters. The reason for 40 is I have a QCX. That's all I got portable as a little QCX. So I have a friend who's given me loaned me an end-fed vertical, or end-fed half-wave rather, radio antenna. And it's a multi-band thing, but you can take the radiating element off and put on a 40-meter element, apparently. So I'm on the verge of testing that out. I really can't do a lot in my backyard. There's too many trees. I can't even see the top of the mast when I put it up. So I'm going to take it to just a park down the street. I'm going to take it there and experiment a bit. But that's the plan. As far as radio is concerned, I'd really like to get going with the QCX, because I want to improve my CW, which I haven't done a lot of lately. And the other stuff is the probe stuff, which I haven't. I still want to have a look at that, the second amplifier, and I just want to consolidate some ideas about what I think is going on. But anyway, so not much else really. Spending my time doing that. That's really all it is right now.
I hear they finally opened up the pool at Earl Row.
Actually, I went looking for that last week, and it was closed.
Really?
Well, it seemed to be. When did I go? We went up. We went up on Monday, and I think it was Tuesday. Might have been Wednesday. Went and had a look. All closed up. Nobody there. Well, there's a fence around it, but there was nobody there. Mind you, the park was empty as usual in midweek in late May, early June. It's really empty. Don't know what happened on the weekend. We left on Friday, so presumably it filled right up on Friday afternoon and evening, and Saturday would have been a long weekend, would have been busy. So I went looking, but not being used. I don't know.
Oh, Facebook, they've announced that it was open. The issue they've been having for the last 3 or 4 years is they don't want to pay the going rent for lifeguards. So that's why it's been closed. That's why it's been closed.
There's all kinds of signs all around, the reservoir and all that. There's beaches here, there, and everywhere. All kinds of signs. Swim at your own risk, lifeguards and whatnot. And one of the things we go to the Fletcher's Field campground with our trailer, and I wonder the comfort stations don't seem to be up to scratch. When we went there the first week, there was one of the men's toilets was out of service. We went back the second time. 2 of them were out of service, leaving only one. And the latch on the one that was left was sort of flopping around. And I talked to them about that the first week, and they didn't do anything. 2 weeks later, I came back and I found a ranger, I guess, and he fixed it right away. I had to go to the maintenance building. He fixed it right away. So I don't know. I wonder about the maintenance. But anyway, it was a good time.
They don't have any money. That's the problem.
Nobody.
I wonder if it's just Earl Row or whether it's all of them. It's probably all of them.
Yeah, they all are financing themselves.
Yeah, that I knew. Yeah, that's been that way for a long time.
I'll have to tell Bonnie about the pool because she read it on Facebook. It was open.
Well, maybe it is now. It sure wasn't when I was there. Anyway, so that's all I've been up to, and we're going back to Earl Row in August. Maybe things will have changed. I don't know. We'll see.
There is a public pool in town, though, a Kinsman pool.
Oh yeah,
that's where all the lifeguards go because they're being paid top dollar.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a good time.
All right, thanks, Michael. Howard, you been busy?
Not much. I finished the probe, and I've been starting to characterize it, but it's more of a learning curve for the tiny essay, and I was hoping to do a little more this week, but kind of like Kevin got distracted there. But that's pretty well all I've been doing.
Okay, well, like I was saying to you earlier, have another go at it, and then if need be, well, bring it all down here.
Yeah, I think it's just a tiny SA configuration, which is I think what the problem is.
Yeah, well, let's hope. Okay, thanks, Howard. And then last but not least is me, and not too much, although Dave V3EAC gave me an amplifier to characterize, just to have a little bit of fun with it, which I did. So I'll probably do a presentation on it at some point down the road. But other than that, that's all I've done, other than paperwork exercises with the various projects and whatnot. So, okay. Eric,
what about my roundtable?
We know what you did because you posted about it for the last several days.
Well, okay, fine, but I mean, I thought you might want to hear about the theremin wiring that I've been working on. So,
not really.
Yeah, when Kevin and Sue were over, Sue expressed a strong interest in. I should put my video on really on examining the theremin that I picked up in Gravenhurst. Eventually, this will come on, right? There we are. Anyway, so yeah, what I tried to do was something unique, which was patch it into another little synthesizer, a synthesizer, and because it's got control voltage pitch out of the Paya theremin. So little did I know is that they needed TRS jacks on them, not just mono cables, cables, not jacks, cables. So anyway, what was that? We are being told anyway. Wow. You want to know what's on my bench? Huh.
Go ahead, Eric. Tell us
Anyway,
what's on your bench.
Actually, I was thinking of renaming this the SOAREX theremin group, but let me work on the acronym a little bit there. I'm sure it can fit a T in there somehow.
You'll be the only member.
I have the power to kick out people,
Fine. All right. You ready for the presentation?
Sure.
All right. Let's see if I can do this gracefully. What do I want? A tab? A tab? How about this?
Green.
So how does... How does that look?
Yeah, we see it.
Okay, good. Let me just get my notes here. Okay, I think we're good. So I know Peter a couple meetings ago already did a thumbnail view of our event, which replaced the 4 days in May down in Dayton, which we decided unanimously to forego because of border issues and the like. So anyway, we made our own 4 days in Maine North in Smiths Falls. Back on the same weekend. Conveniently, there was a ham fest happening Saturday morning at Smiths Falls. The local amateur radio club put that on. So anyway, we had a great time. I believe it was a total head count of 5, if I'm not mistaken. I'm doing a couch count. Cherry did come on Saturday. We met him at the Hamfest, but I think at the Airbnb, there was a total of 5 of us altogether, or 4. I don't know. Anyway, something like that. So here's Dave and Peter carefully OCD packed in, I guess, Dave's car and ready to start festivities. I think this was already near or in Smiths Falls, if I'm not mistaken. You guys can correct me on that. I didn't look at
that's the Rideau Canal behind us, and actually we're almost facing where our Airbnb was.
Okay. So they got their first on the scene. And this was our place that we stayed at. Nice little ranch-style bungalow house. Doesn't look like much from the front, but, tidy, well-maintained and all that, which is nice. So good first impressions. But once you get inside, it was a pretty nice spot. 5 bedrooms with a bed in each of them. And, room for more if you needed, I think, hold up to at least 8 or 10 in the spot. So again, the first arrivals enjoying some quiet time together on the gazebo and the patio in the back. Dave is just bursting at the seams, ready for action. So, he, couldn't wait to start unpacking his gear and getting things up and running. By the time I arrived, he was already in, full fighting form. So there's no going back. We had 2 fused deposition modeling printers that we put to use. I brought mine, Dave brought his, and both of them were cranking away at some small jobs throughout the weekend. Nothing too crazy, but one of them was actually a practical thing, which you'll see in a little bit. Here's Kevin, who I think arrived next, preparing ample food for all of us in the amply equipped kitchen. What else? What else? Here's me annoying Dave with some semi-musical noisemakers. I always have to bring something along just to keep him, in line. So it worked. Gets him quiet after a time. This was our operating position for the Thursday of the few days. So again, nice large living room with a screen that we hooked up a stream coming from FDIMn in Dayton. So started at 8ish in the morning or so, ended at around 5 or so. And so we got kind of the effect. The effect without the smell, let's put it that way. So it was an almost a full sensory experience. But what else? So here's one of the cases for the RF probe. David printed this one prior to coming to Smiths Falls, if I'm not mistaken. I did another one in a different filament called PET G. First time printing with that at the Airbnb with my printer. Did the same case based on Dave's design files, and it came out fine. In fact, we mated them together. So mine was red filament, his was black. So we each have a black and red probe case. So there you go. That was Dave and Peter's spot on the love seat couldn't get them out of there for the entire day on Thursday. But anyway, happy as clams participating in the event. Dave spotted some sort of bird, maybe of prey. I don't know if he ever conclusively identified what kind of creature this was, but was it an osprey?
Osprey.
Okay. Yeah. So he got quite a few snaps, none much up closer than this one with one bird, two birds, I guess the parents, and that it was hard to see any of the young ones as far as I remember. But this is from the back deck of the house with a little bit of zoom involved. So there's a little bit of a park, I guess, baseball diamond, etc., not far from the back end of the house. So anyway, so much equipment was there. We had tables and tables of stuff set up, almost looked like a mini ham fest, total geeky experience for all that attended. So this was me in my legitimate Hawaiian shirt, printing off probe case there, I think. And then I guess the Friday morning, me having a look at the guts of a Heathkit HW101. Peter delivered this, or I guess brought this to Smiths Falls for a exchange. He had acquired it from, I think, maybe I'm not sure if it was a ham downsizing or deceased, whatever. But who is it from?
Came from Len V3SOA. His dad, I think it was his dad's whose radio that he built when he was a kid, I think. And his dad's a silent key now. Anyway, he's been gathering all his dad's stuff and bringing it back to Ontario from New Brunswick. Anyway, that was his dad's rig that he had built.
So you said VE3SOA, that was the son though, right?
Yeah. I forget what his dad's call was.
Right. Okay. I should put maybe make a note of that or something, put it right inside the case, so at least I know some of the heritage behind it. So anyway, it's got a little work. I did manage to find a power supply for it because it didn't come with anything other than the box. But at the Central Ontario Hamfest a couple of weeks later, found a compatible power supply. There's a few belts in there that need to be replaced for the knobs, tuning knobs. But anyway, it may live to see another day. So Charlie, is he on the call today? He is not, but I'm not sure exactly what he was working on here. I'm not sure if any of the other attendees can comment on that, but he was industriously going at something on the Friday. Friday basically was our day of tinkering and talking and working on projects and sharing ideas.
He was busy with Dave working on the backplane project's motherboard carrier.
Yeah. Okay. So dinner time, I guess on Friday at the ranch. Once again, as you can tell, that's the back deck, classy spot. So we were all well fed and watered for the event. We had an after dinner beverage time here, and by the time the weekend was done, there was quite the collection of empties as well as empty eggshells, farm fresh eggs that I brought, most yellow yolks you ever see, and lots of caffeine too. So Keurig machine was working overtime. We made it finally Saturday morning to the Smiths Falls Hamfest. There's three of the crew. That's where we ran into Cherry, who had shown up. I think he had left his home in Oshawa at like 3 a.m. or something to make it for the opening. So anyway, not too many pictures of the tables, but there were maybe about 6 rows of benches that were set up there. So this is a first. Dave beating me in sheer volume of Hamfest junk acquisition. So all I had was just a little, tiny baggie. I'm not opening up my backpack for anybody to examine. But anyway, Dave had a whole, he had to bring leaf bags to get his stuff home. So there's us at the entrance foyer of the famous Diefenbunker in Karp, which was maybe about an hour's drive from where we stayed in Smiths Falls. So if any of you have ever been there, you may recognize that. That's the you can see a little bit of the circular hallway behind. It's a 200-meter tunnel basically to get into the side of the hill, I guess, where the guts of the 4-level establishment is, underground establishment. So this slide I just threw in at the registration desk there, where we paid our entrance fees to the museum. SOAREX members are known for their brilliance, but not for their patience. So, getting a little thin, hands on the hips, hands in the pockets, scowls, but, they were friendly. So in the end, it was nice. And, busy enough, I think, when we arrived. So, but not too bad. Oh, this one slide's out of order. Dave and Peter had this set up in my bedroom at the Airbnb. So I don't know. I'm not sure what they had in mind, but maybe some, convincing tools, perhaps. But anyway, now theremin adjustment tool.
Silencing tools.
Anyway, so just kidding. Of course, this is the surgical tools at the Diefenbunker. Of course, they had a fully equipped operating room and dental theater and whatever else. So luckily, they tried to get me strapped down onto the table, but I evaded them. There's lots of little hallways to make my way around. So here is just an example. Now, Diefenbunker was, I think, officially decommissioned around 1994 or so. I don't know, mid-90s as far as I recall. But and the place was totally emptied out. All the equipment was taken away. So the curators of what is now the museum, had to recreate things as much as they reasonably could, bringing back some of the either, I don't know if they could find any of the original equipment, but period appropriate stuff anyway. So here's an example of one room that looks like a repair room, I believe, for all of the mechanical repair room for equipment that needed TLC. So lots of different rooms housing various or I should say, performing various roles at the Diefenbunker. Really cool place if you've never been. So this is the Diefenbunker Amateur Radio Club radio room, which is still one of the few rooms, I guess, in the museum that's in active use. They have a number of rigs in there, and we'll have regular public events and club events that happen there. Unfortunately did not coincide with our visit, but we did speak to one or two members that happened to be in Diefenbunker at the time we were there, and had a little bit of a chat with them. So if you're going, that might be a nice thing to try to arrange, is actually operating from the Diefenbunker. So some rack-mounted period equipment that we observed. Again, none of it's functional, but interesting to look at. So they might be interested in some of my period equipment in my storage when the time comes. You never know. So let it be known that if I perish, you can donate some of my stuff. So yeah, a little bit of a sense of humor. We've spied a few signs there that were kind of interesting and a little maybe anachronistic, but a lot of males only, females only, that kind of stuff that existed back in the day. So but here is the situation room, I guess we'd call it. That's one of the rooms where they would have the VIPs as an alternate spot for the government when the time would come, in case of Central Command being not operational. So again, some period CRTs and other things there, but it gives you a flavor of it, of what things were like. So lots of cool old computers. I mean, they had Osborne ones, PETs. I question whether these types of PCs were actually used in the Diefenbunker back in the day. But I would say much more representative would probably be this. Again, maybe depends on what decade you're talking about, but I think we touched upon this when Peter's presentation. This is one of the server rooms, although I guess it would really just be a computer room from back in the 60s. I think you mentioned that the floors were all perforated for cooling. Needs is underground, so there is no natural ventilation, so all had to be engineered. Dave
has a question. Yeah
and Eric, I took these pictures purely for Frank, because they're all potential equipment that Frank was aware of and Frank worked on. So when I showed it to Frank, he recognized a lot of it.
Yeah, that's right. I just even remember a bit of a conversation now about one of these pieces, maybe something on the left-hand side there that was identified. So anyway, very cool. So getting towards the end, this was right after our tour of the bunker, enjoying a meal and drinks at a microbrewery just a few minutes away. So there's places to enjoy yourself after a visit, which was again enjoyable. Dave, yes. You're still muted. Dave, you're still muted. Old man.
Sorry, no. Where's the picture of the Diefenbaker toilet in his suite? There was a toilet.
Yeah, I can show it if you want. Is that what I didn't realize how important that was? The toilet?
Yeah,
What? But I mean, is there a story behind the toilet?
It was the best picture of the whole thing.
All right.
Yeah, that's where Diefenbaker took a crap.
Okay, a little bit of trivia. Diefenbaker never stepped foot into the bunker. So, but yes, okay, it's where it's where Trudeau took a crap. He was the only prime minister that ever stepped foot into the Diefenbunker, apparently. So obviously Diefenbaker got the stuff in motion, but anyway, so back Sunday morning, sad, but the time had come to pack up and go. So there is, I think, Peter's stash of stuff. We're ready to be loaded into the car, and off we go. And c'est fini, the final breakfast Sunday morning, when I had had enough of their harassment, but they were just out of reach for throttling. So you want to see if I can find the toilet? Seriously? I can try anyway. Am I still? Oh, I'm not
Okay,
sharing anymore. Uh-oh.
And who wants to see the Diefenbaker toilet?
Everybody wants to see it?
You got 2 minutes to find it.
Oh, no, I know where it is. It's
Well,
right
then
here. All right, I just got to share this screen again. That's all. Is it this? Yes, it's this.
Must be a bucket.
That's the one, right?
Yep.
Oh, water closet.
No, it's the
What?
one. It's the one with you standing beside it.
Oh, wasn't that a
It's the
video
one-
though? This one?
Took a shit in there and
Yeah,
hasn't
this one. Yeah.
been years.
Can anybody hear
Took
that?
a shit in there and hasn't been cleaned in 70 years.
Yeah, we can hear it.
Baker took a shit in there and hasn't been cleaned in 70 years.
Can you actually hear the video on that?
Yes.
The audio?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go.
So you see, guys, why you should be coming with us on these trips. You know, we all have a lot of fun.
So yeah, there you go. I don't know. I mean, there's like hundreds of pictures, but that was the curated collection. So goes on and on. If you've ever, I don't know if anyone's ever seen a Commodore telephone, but there you go. So,
Drew, you got a question?
Well, not really, but those racks of Raycals were very common around town. When they closed some of the facilities and took them out of the listening stations, the local signalers brought down truckloads of those blue Raycal radios. And I would suspect a solid 2/3 of the hams in town still have them.
And what's a Raycal? I don't recognize that name.
You had the stacks of radios there all aligned, all on top of each other and rack mounted.
Oh, okay. Raycal.
Yeah, those are Raycals. They're very high sensitivity. They used to have them. Most of the listening posts, like Alert, had them hooked up to basically 2-kilometer long beverage antennas mounted in 360 degrees every 10 degrees. And they would switch them around to various radios. And that's what the listening posts were all based on, were the Raycals.
Interesting.
Are they those blue ones on the screen right now on the right-hand side?
Let me see here. No. I'm just looking here. Give me a second.
It was that tall rack.
That's right.
Said that they weren't operative.
That's right.
Rack. Okay.
Yeah, there were older ones, and the one down below that was actually blue. That's more typical of the Raycals that we have. Most of us, well, Chip Chapman, Pete, you'd know him.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's got the whole rig, and I've got a lot of it, and there's a bunch of it around town.
There it is. You just passed it.
I just passed it.
Yep.
Flying past so fast.
Go back.
I know. Yeah, sorry. There?
That wasn't the one, but that looks like.
No, that's a Maple Leaf.
Yeah, go back another.
That's the CBC broadcast station.
There, that's the rack on the right-hand side.
Let me see here.
Sorry, I know it's small, but this guy?
Yep. Yes, that's it exactly. Yes, that's it. So you see the blue one down, see the sky blue one straight down at the bottom?
Okay.
Of that rack? Yeah, that's typical of the Raycals that we all have.
Huh.
There's a bunch of them all. If you want a few, just raise your hand, and I'm pretty sure there's lots of guys around town that give them to you.
I can't pick it up. So if you
Well,
can't,
we'll send two. We'll send
have
two people. We'll send two people. It's okay.
Yeah, very nice. Okay. Well,
Very good.
anyway,
Okay.
that is that. So
Anybody else have any other comments or queries?
I didn't know Commodore made a phone.
yeah, I'm not sure. It might have just been a decal, but I mean, what is it? Filing cabinets and calculators, right? So,
Yeah, pet computers.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. Anybody else have any other questions, concerns, comments, whatevers and whatevers? Okay. Well, thanks everybody for joining in tonight. I think we had around a dozen people at one time there. I thought it was pretty good. Again, reminder, no meeting on July 16th. So we'll see you August What's the date in August?
August 20th? 20th.
August 6th is our next meeting.
Oh, right. Yeah.
David V3TOS is supposed to be doing a presentation then on the ZBitX. And then we have another break at August 20th. So anyway, don't forget. Now for August 16th, if I'm in the shack, maybe I'll just put the meeting on, just have a look and see if anybody's around, not doing anything. Maybe we'll have a little chit chat or something like that. But there'll be definitely nothing formal, nothing set up for the meeting. So if you're around, sign in and see who's around.
What dates were there?
July 16th and August 20th are canceled. Yeah. Other than just if you're not doing anything, just check in and see if somebody's around.
So basically, it's just one more meeting until September officially.
Yeah.
Which is August 6th. Yep.
Yeah. Okie doke. So with that, we'll say 7-3 and catch you guys later.
Very good meeting. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
bye now.
Good meeting, guys.
Yep.
Have a good evening. Good
Thanks,
weekend.
guys. Good night.
Hey, 7-3, guys.